They expected 1,000 protesters. They got nearly triple. Still not enough to fill one of the cruise ships they hope will never berth here.
Beach towels at Yarra Bay today served a very different purpose, to help a community coming out in force against
the tip of Molyneux Point. The idea is also strongly opposed by the local Aboriginal community.
They start building a breakwater, they're going to have to dredge, they're going to have to build a breakwater that will change the wave energy around Botany Bay.
The state government hasn't made a decision yet on where the new cruise terminal will be. The Port Authority of New South Wales is compiling a detailed business case which will be presented to Cabinet early next year for their approval. But their website on this project suggests that if everything is approved, construction will begin here in 2023.
The state government wanted to explore what they could do with the federal government to get the Navy and the Defence Department and the Defence Minister talking about Garden Island and whether or not you can have a shared facility. Malcolm Turnbull went on television as Prime Minister and said, "Not happening, national security." It's out, not happening, national security. You can have a shared facility, it can actually add to national security. This isn't a NIMBY thing, this isn't a Liberal Labor thing, this is about good public policy, this is about making a lasting difference. Thank you very much.
And he's right, it is about good public policy, but it's also about being truthful and honest and open with the possible expenditure of your money. Now, Peter spoke about a couple of reports there. I tried to get them, we've all tried to get them, and the copy I got, every second word was whacked out. It was unreadable. So what we need to do, and I've called for it today, I know that we've got David Shubich from the Greens Upper House here and Mark Manasiak from the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers. I've called today for an Upper House inquiry so we can get our hands on those documents.
Back in September, the New South Wales Government tasked us and New South Wales Treasury with the job of delivering a detailed business case to study the area along the existing port breakwater between Molyneux Point and Yarra Bay. It's not been shown to anyone outside of government, but what we can do is use your feedback to further inform the decision makers in government. There has been some criticism that we are not yet providing answers. So let me give you some assurances about how we in New South Wales Treasury will work with you during the next 12 months or so. By mid-2020, we will have held further community information sessions which will include updates on the status of the technical studies I mentioned earlier. We will have refined site options from the study area and the early concept designs. And we will have released an early consultation outcomes report that explains how specific community feedback has been used to inform the project. By then, more homework will have been done with Transport for New South Wales Treasury and other agencies.
In 1883, let's go to a bit more modern history. In 1883, the government created the Aboriginal Protection Board. And they started moving all our old people from around Botany Bay and throughout the Sydney Basin to our community's present location here in La Perouse. But our connection keeps going. Our connection is always there. They moved us there to be out of sight and out of mind of the colony. So they just wanted us out of the way. What I've got with me today is endorsement from the La Perouse Aboriginal Community Alliance supporting that same position. The public statement from the Alliance also states that the Alliance strongly encourages the New South Wales Government to reconsider the current proposal due to the significant impact the large-scale infrastructure project will have on our community if they are to continue to overdevelop our country, which will cause a detrimental impact to the social and spiritual connection we have to our country. So it's time for us to stand together. It's time for us, the La Perouse Aboriginal community, to ask the question, when will our cultural rights be respected? our history and our traditions be acknowledged. Because I reckon it's now. And I say no to cruise ships at Yarra Bay. No to cruise ships in Yarra Bay. No to cruise ships in Yarra Bay.
How about cruise have it? Yarra Bay, no way! Yarra Bay, no way! Yarra Bay, no way! Yarra Bay, no way! Yarra Bay, no way!
We feel honoured and privileged to be standing by you to protect the land and the sea that you have nurtured for thousands of years. That's an imminent threat, a danger of being destroyed. For what? For a foreign cruise line industry. It's outrageous, and we should all, I'm glad that everyone is in there, we should all consider it outrageous, it's preposterous. It's preposterous. So here we are, a year after, no more than that, about a year and a half after we met for the first forum, and a lot's happened in that time. We've had quite a few protests, we've sent thousands and thousands of letters, resolutions of council and parliament, and we've mobilised thousands of people in the community against this. Well, what hasn't happened in the last 2 years? Well, first of all, nobody from the community has actually been consulted, not the traditional owners, not the residents. In fact, this is probably the longest session we've had with the Port Authority right here today. Shame. They have now finished their preliminary strategic business case, but are hiding behind cabinet in confidence, not sharing it with us. We know that there are at least 2,000 secret documents that they won't share with us. Shame, yeah. We now know there was universal, we've heard from Peter Collins, there was universal consensus for a shared facility at Garden Island. All stakeholders from the cruise industry, the tourism industry, the business chambers were on board for that. Then Malcolm Turnbull and his famous captain's call, without even looking at the Peter Collins report, basically rejected that proposal, made that captain's call and said no. So next thing we know, Yarra Bay was on the table as the only option on the table. Now they're doing their market soundings with potential investors. Now don't be fooled. They're sharing all this information with the cruise line industry and the private sector. They're trying to source investors. They're not sharing with us, but they're sharing with them. You know, we're nowhere near being respected as the people most affected by this preposterous proposal.
So much for consultation.
So much. Now, they've got their slick communications team here today. You know, they're trying to get our buy-in, and the way they're putting it to us is they want our feedback onto how to shape the future cruise terminal, how to minimise the operational impacts. That's how it's been put to us. You know, that is not how consultation works, but everyone. That is not a consultation process. No, it's not. Mr. Holiday, you have the ear of the Minister. You're very senior in the Port Authority. We respectfully ask that you call for the release, the lifting of the classification, cabinet in confidence, release that report, release the Peter Collins report, respect the community. Otherwise, these consultations are a sham. So here is the reality. Today, the whole community, environmentalists, fishers, councils, MPs of all political stripes, business community, landowners, even the tourism sector, and we have on record some New South Wales ministers support the proposal to share Garden Island. Right? We have a coalition of thousands, over 5,000 people, hundreds of community groups and city councils categorically opposing Yarra Bay for a cruise terminal. It's time to stop the madness. Accommodating cruise ships at Garden Island will cost $143 million versus at least $600 million at Yarra Bay. Now, enough resources have been wasted. The community of Botany Bay has been traumatised enough. send Royal Caribbean and other predators a strong message. Get the hell out of our bay.
With help from Anthony Paxgill with the Save the Bay group. Thank you, Anthony. We've created a 3D visualisation of what a mega cruise ship terminal would look like in Yarra Bay. The most important thing for you to appreciate is the scale of the project. So if we could just go keep swinging around that wave, please, Anthony. You can see that a wharf to accommodate 2 mega cruise ships has to be 350 metres, it has to be about 700 metres long, so it would extend along the length of Yarra Bay from the suction to past Yarra Point. So it would extend from the suction. So if you were standing near the watchtower at La Perouse, this is what you'll see in Yarra Bay in the distance. It totally changes the character of our neighbourhood. Once the breakwater goes in, the water coming in and out of Yarra Bay with the tides will behave totally differently. I would say that Yarra Beach here will become quite a dangerous beach because water has got to escape on this left-hand side of this massive breakwater. It's going to race in and out of the bay. It's going to scour a deep channel and this beach will no longer be safe. Having seen all that, could I have a show of hands? Don't be afraid. Could we have a show of hands of anyone in the room or everyone in the room who thinks it's going to be great?
I've said no disrespect to Philip, who spoke about increasing access for the cruise ships, but what it means is decreasing access for recreational fishermen. And we won't put up with that. I also bring in support to the whole campaign, 850,000 fishermen across New South Wales. And for that entire consultation process, we've been lied to, we've been misled, we've been deceived.
We've become a dumping ground.
100%. Again, recreational fishermen, our answer is no. We don't even want to talk to them. It is no. There's no more loss of access. These guys are ready to go again. They are ready to go to war. And we will go to war to stop this. And we will not talk and engage. So again, no more lockouts, no more loss of access. And that's just us fishermen talking. Thank you very much, Stan. Crystal clear, no, and let's get ready to go to war, 100%.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I come today with a united voice of support from the licensed clubs of the Sydney Metropolitan Region of Clubs New South Wales, which in total is 74 clubs of this area. Our clubs passed a unanimous resolution of wholehearted support for the Yarra Bay 16-foot skip sailing club and the community in the fight with the government of New South Wales over this monstrosity, the monstrosity of a proposal. We have to fight to protect what we own. Let's not pussyfoot around. The government is quite firm at this stage in their opinion to go ahead with this port. We have to start and stop with it now. But ladies and gentlemen, we moved at our meeting, fight we will. We'll fight with all the might that the club movement can muster. We took to the streets in protest when the New South Wales government tried to overtax our industry. We beat them with the axe for tax. And we beat them then, and we can beat them again. People hate facing people power. People power will never be denied. Who can ever forget when 83,000 people took to the streets from Redfern to Sydney Town Hall when South were kicked out of the competition? That was illegal then. The might of Rupert Murdoch crumbled. The empire of News Limited crumbled. They crumbled to people power. This proposed overseas passenger terminal is the worst ever. A shocker of monumental proportions. Generations of people to come will be affected by this decision if it goes ahead. Now it's time for us to call on the government to respect us, the people, respect the will of the people. Why won't the government listen? Why won't they listen? They've made their mind made up. They now have to listen to the people. Already inadequate to meet our demands. We all go to work. Look at our roads, they're clustered up now. No thought's got any more buildings, 170 odd units going to be built by Triggerboff, hopefully not. And what happens if the Long Bay Jail closes down? More units, disgraceful. And I think it's time for all of us now to stand up and be counted. Yarra Bay Sailing Club will be wiped out. It is a marvellous community asset, Yarra Bay Sailing Club.
So, Botany Bay is no ordinary bay, I don't need to tell you that. But under the water, it is just as unique as the incredible Indigenous and cultural heritage that we see above the water. Right out here, the two heads of the bay, Kurnell on one side, Bear Island and Cape Banks on the other side, have a unique marine community that is nowhere else in the world. So I'll just introduce you to a few members of that community. The weedy sea dragon, a real world dragon, okay? So dragons aren't mythical, you get them in the real world, long snout, wings on the back. Sydney is the northern extent of its range, so it only lives in Australia, only in southern Australia, and this is as far north as it gets, so the population here is really important for genetic uniqueness. And you know where the largest colony of weedy sea dragons is? In all of Sydney. There's actually two, Henry Head and Kurnell. The two heads have got the two largest breeding colonies.
We actually do need to step outside the usual political bounds on this, join together and use our collective wisdom with the community to fight it and save Yarra Bay. That's what we have to do. Led by Port Authority of New South Wales in collaboration with New South Wales Treasury, the next step is the development of a detailed business case that will investigate cruise capacity, industry demand and assess two potential sites at Yarra Bay and Molyneux Point near Port Botany. That's not two sites, that's either Yarra Bay or Yarra Bay. There's no consultation here. They've put a target on Yarra Bay and they are aimed at Yarra Bay and they think nothing can stop them. Well, I think collectively we've got a different message and it says not Yarra Bay, save the Bay. That's what we're here to say. Well, I'm in the upper house and I've got to tell you now, there's a good thing about the upper house at the moment. The government doesn't control the numbers. There's a non-government majority. Happy days. And I was just talking with Mark from the Shooters and Fishers, and I know Mike will be chatting to his Labor colleagues, but this week, the last week the Parliament's sitting, I'll give you this commitment. I will go in there on Tuesday, and I'll put on a motion to use the powers of the upper house to force the government to release the strategic business plan. We'll bring it to a vote on Thursday and you're all welcome to come in and watch the Parliament work. We'll bring it to a vote and I reckon between the MPs just we've got in here, we're pretty close to a majority anyhow. I reckon we'll get the order up. I reckon we'll force them to relax.
Our people fish there. Look, my mother, we walk from La Perouse over there to where that port is now to get oysters and muttonfish. But no oysters and mussels. So are you going to sit there and not let me have a voice? I think we need to vote. All our votes are important. And we're all
in terms of that Standing Order 52, which is like a Gipper on steroids, you can guarantee we'll be supporting that and speaking to it. In terms of the Upper House inquiry, you can guarantee our signature on that referral when and if and when it comes. And I guess a message back to Gladys and Andrew via the Ports Authority, we are getting those documents whether you like it or not. We are going to win, but I don't care what people say the chances may be. If it's 1%, 5%, I don't care. They wrote off the greyhounds. They wrote off the fishers in marine parks. Well, guess what? We made them blink on greyhounds. We made them blink on marine parks, and we'll make them blink on Yarra Bay.
We've done some work together. I've got a message for you very quickly for you that I need you to understand. Whether it's today or whether it's in 12 months' time, the people here are going to have a win. There's one thing about this community, and particularly being a number of South supporters out here, they know how to stand up and fight. And this decision by the Liberal government, I mean, no one can underestimate the stupidity of the Liberal government, and this is up there with their best. It's bad for Yarra Bay, it's bad for the community, and it's bad for Botany Bay. And I know both in this crowd here as well as downstairs, there's MUA members there supporting us. They're supporting you on the job. The Sydney branch, 2,300 working men and women in this sport, support you today. And we stand with you. And I want to make sure that message is received well and truthfully. It's an unusual issue that brings members of the Labor Party, the Liberal Party and Peter Collins, the Greens, the shooters and fishers together. That's how stupid this decision is. And when you get all aspects coming together to say how bad it is, it needs to be heard. I've been there at Brotherson Dock. That's around the corner of Molyneux Point and around in when the rolling swells have caused us to put the ships to sea. And someone's going to tell us they're safe to go in here? BS. There's no way in the world they're safe. Can I say to the digital modelling that was put there of the ships coming in, it's wrong. And I've got to say it's wrong, because the breakwater wouldn't be that small. It'd have to go past Bear Island. It'd be the second biggest disaster to hit Bear Island since Mission Impossible 2. I don't understand the traffic coming in at the moment just to get to this forum today. That two-lane road coming in and out. What happens when there's a cruise ship here every day with 2,000 passengers every day? With stores every day. How does it work then? Where is the infrastructure? And I noticed the two empty seats here. Premier Berejiklian and Transport Minister and Minister for Ports, New South Wales own Ferry McFerry face Andrew Constance. They couldn't come today, but they sent the Harbour Master and Acting CEO to come along in their place. They're stupid enough to make this decision. They should have had the courage, the conviction, the responsibility to stand in front of this crowd and stand up and actually take responsibility for what they said. They're taking the coward's way out. There should be no cruise ships in Yarra Bay. Cruise ships should be back in Sydney Harbour and leave this beautiful piece of botany as it is. Absolutely. No cruise ships on Yarra Bay, no cruise ships on Yarra Bay, no cruise ships on Yarra Bay, and the MUA's here to stay with you.
Thank you so much for that, Paul, and I know we won't have to come looking for you guys when there's a blue on. Another 5-minute feed.
We've actually helped print all the pamphlets you see, you've seen being handed out. We print the posters, and also you wouldn't have missed the garbage truck, which will be on all our garbage trucks. Looks fantastic. Bayside Council will be doing the same. We've got to fight this. If Dayside's going to cost $500 million, it's going to cost $1 billion. We know that, it'll double. So save that money, give it to the drought-stricken farmers, give it to the firefighters up north, and give it to social housing.
I'm here today to say no way in Botany Bay. Botany Bay is part of our community lifestyle. Throughout the year, the whole bay is used by families and community groups to celebrate holidays, festivals, and other significant family and community events. If the state government build a cruise ship terminal here, all this will be gone. That is why we say no way in Botany Bay. A cruise ship terminal in Yarra Bay will put a greater demand on ratepayer funds to mitigate the impact. This year alone, Bayside Council has had to spend $1 million due to beach erosion. we call on the state government to explain how ratepayers in Bayside and Randwick and Sutherland councils will not be asked to bear the burden of future foreshore management. The Mayor and councillors of Bayside Council unanimously insist that the state government release the confidential documents and explain to ratepayers the impact on our already congested roads and traffic infrastructure and our environment. My fellow councillors and I were unanimous on Wednesday night at our council meeting. Botany Bay has had enough.
This is our home and we love it and we're going to fight for it. We're not going to allow any government to say that they can do this to our beloved home. They've developed the whole northern side of Botany Bay. There's nothing left. This is it. That's all that's left of the natural beach that was the whole of the north side of Botany Bay. That's it. And we're going to fight for it. Now, originally this was a decision of Malcolm Turnbull. The Cruise Industry Reference Group, as you've heard from Peter Collins, suggested to the federal government that the best site for the second cruise terminal in Sydney was at Garden Island. And Malcolm Turnbull ruled that out straight away. Peter Collins suspects that Malcolm Turnbull didn't even read his report. He ruled it out straight away. Now there's one person that can overturn all of this and stop it. And that's the bloke whose electorate is on the other side of this bay. And that's the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison. His electorate starts at Kurnell and goes south through Cronulla and the like. He can intervene here and stop this. Now, if he cared about Botany Bay, if he cared about his residents in Kurnell because they're going to be affected by this, the Prime Minister would show leadership and stand up for Botany Bay and intervene and stop this ridiculous proposal. Now, when we had this last community forum here in August of 2018, in the wake of that, I wrote to the Prime Minister and I asked him, on behalf of our community, to intervene and to stand up for Botany Bay and stop this. He wrote back to me in January of this year, and the letter's here and anyone can come and see it if you want. And he said, I'm not going to intervene, and not only am I not going to intervene, but we're going to give the state government $250,000 for the feasibility study. Now that's what the Morrison government has done to date. Now I've made speeches in the Parliament, I've called on the Prime Minister to meet with me, and we're going to do that again, and I'm happy to take Danny and anyone else that wants to come to Canberra to meet with the Prime Minister and meet with the Infrastructure Minister and tell them that they've got to stop this ridiculous proposal. But at the end of the day, friends, the only thing that's going to stop this, as Henry said, is people power. We have to come together and make sure that we as a community work with other communities in Sydney to stop this proposal for a cruise ship terminal at Yarra Bay. Let's fight together to make sure that we don't allow the New South Wales government to destroy this little bit of our particular community that we have left. Let's fight to save Yarra Bay. Thanks for being here today.
Save Yarra Bay! Save Yarra Bay! Save Yarra Bay! Save it today! And then, go away Harry! Go away Richard! Go away Gladys! Go away Harry! And so on. Anyway, it's on the CD, it's on the page. Anyway, it's fun.
We asked some simple questions, and one of them was, what's the benefit to people from Bayside or the people from Randwick in terms of what? We didn't know. The answer was that people will jump off the ship and go up the road and buy a Toblerone from the shop. Right? Now, we're going to get all the environmental impacts on our roadways, on our environment, and no benefit to us per se at all. So will we get a direct benefit at all?
I can give you my personal opinion, but I'm not going to. The work that we do will be better informed by people engaging and giving us their specific concerns as much as possible. I do encourage people to come to the information sessions and bring with them their specific concerns so that we can make sure they're addressed. That's my assurance that I can give.
Our men sail the bay in canoes. Aren't canoes cut and fashioned with the sides of tall trees. They sustained that. They knew how to cut. The implements they used were stone axes. They did this, and you would say, in a nomadic way, to them, no. Our women gathered, they nurtured, they suckled, they did all this. Ruth said our mother went to what we call now Bunbury, and it's got a new name, Bumbora Point. It never was Bumbora Point, Bunbury. Our mother did that for oysters and mussels to sustain us with a feed. So I'd like to see you go around and do all this. Take your children, when they go to bed hungry, but you wouldn't do it because you've got a pocket full of money in your pocket now. I'm honest with you. Peter Cooley up the back up here, he's got a thriving business, indigenous food plants. Today, white Australia wants all those plants to sustain them. We do medicine, we know culture, we do know history. Like I said, we've seen 3 boats sail in, our people. 3 sailboats sail in, big birds, and sail out. Only one of the men got invited for a dinner somewhere, and he didn't leave the house, he stayed there. They used him, they ate him. So think about all this. Think about it. Okay, we want fairness and honesty. You know what it's about. You know what's in that paper there. You don't want to release it. Our men have worked alongside this guy over here. Our men have fought and struggled with unions. They've been on the water side. Our men are also truckies today. Our men circumnavigated Australia in a bark canoe. They crossed the mountains and showed explorers how to cross it. Our people. Our people counted. Black Lives Matter today. The minister up there, the Premier, at one time, she was a transport minister. I sat in one of her conferences, she couldn't answer questions. Constantine, he was aged care's minister. He knew nothing about aged care. But one day he's going to grow old. He might end up out there being the milk of the cows himself one day. So all this will happen. It's reality. I want you to think about it. Take it on board. Have you ever swum in the bay here? Do you live in the country here this side? No. You know what it's about? Being realistic. You can sit there with your highfalutin ways, but you don't know what these people over here are suffering. You don't know it's affecting them. Yes. So you think about it from day to day. But next year, let me tell you, so more is going to hear us. So more is going to hear us. And I also say Gladys and Constantine were elected up there by the Liberal voters. Think about it, everybody. How many Liberal voters in here who voted for this mob here? Okay, think about it. You want to get something with politics? Have a look what Labor's done for it. What the council have done, what you've done over again. So think about the Liberal voters, what you've done. You sold us out to these two idiots up in